What's up, Connection Podcast Network fans? Welcome to a No Holds Barred special edition. What if? JT and Aaron back at it, and of course, we are here every Saturday with No Holds Barred. Twice a month, you and I are drafting
That's
topics with
right.
our friends. We're doing some cool drafts, and the other 2 weeks a month for No Holds Barred, we are going through every WWE World Title change ever.
And
So we are.
we've been. I feel like we've been in 1999 for 6 months.
Yeah, it feels like it. There's so many title changes, but we're close to getting out of there for sure. But we also deliver you these once every couple weeks or so, maybe. We take
Filler
why not?
content.
Filler. A video
Right?
only. This is a video YouTube
Right.
exclusive. So be sure to subscribe while you're here. And if you have suggestions for future what ifs, put them in the comments. And we're actually going to do a fan submitted one tonight from our
That's
good buddy
right.
Ryan Everett. He's one of the co-hosts of With This Ring over on the PTBN Wrestling Network. Him and his wife do a wrestling-based show, so you can check that out as well.
Perpetual trivia champion, Ryan Everett.
Yes. We'll see if he resurfaces. You never know in that regard. All right. You know what? We've been living, Aaron, in late 98, 99, title changes.
That's right.
Maybe a little live watch here or there somewhere. We're just all attitude lately. And I'm going to take us to a time following SummerSlam 1998, the Highway to Hell. And it's an interesting time because I think the product itself, I don't want to say dips a little bit on air quality wise, but
Not on Raw. Not on Raw. Raw is like the
No.
best it's ever been because of
right.
Vince,
But one of the hottest storylines is completely kicked off after that with Austin McMahon really goes next level following SummerSlam to lead into WrestleMania. But there's a big piece missing at that time, a big piece of the rise. And it's a guy that you associate with Attitude, I think, but he's really not there for much of the Attitude Era. He is there for the genesis of and the comeback of the Monday Night Wars, but he's injured right before WWF takes over control over WCW. And then when he returns, WCW is gone, and it's just the WWF or WWE brand split, and he's back. And that's, of course, Shawn Michaels.
Just fighting his buddies at that point.
So it's weird because he's such an integral piece of everything WWF in the 90s, but he's not there for the hottest period.
And you could argue that he is the catalyst for the Attitude. You could argue it.
Easily.
I think you probably have to give it to Austin too, but that DX run is like so exceptional that without that, the whole thing might not work.
Without Vince choosing Shawn over Brett, right? I think that's like a big part of it. And I think his DX run and his overall performance and attitude is what led to Vince choosing him. I think he just saw him as more younger and more viable for the future picture that they had in mind, right? So he was in mind for a big piece of this. So Ryan posits, what if Shawn Michaels returns fully healthy after SummerSlam? So in this world, he goes out at Mania with the back, he rehabs it. Obviously, he doesn't have surgery if he's back in 5 months or whatever, but let's say he goes full rehab and he gets better.
So the night after SummerSlam, he shows up. Is that what we're looking at?
I'm going to say a few weeks after, because the night after it might have been taped that year. Like, it's all wonky in that couple week period because of the U.S. Open. So
that's right.
Let's say he comes back. Let's call it after Breakdown. We'll say after Breakdown. And I'm going to throw this at you too. I'm going to say he's fully sober. So I'm going to say he took these 5 months. He cleaned his life. He got his back fixed, and he went into rehab. And I'm not saying he's going to stay sober, but he's coming back clean.
Did his dick get bigger also? Like, is it just a pure miracle situation?
He just had a great 5 months. Feeling good. Now, I'm going to say he's at least cleaned up his act a little bit. Like, he's not, because if he didn't, to me, the back injury doesn't mean anything because he's going to come back and probably self-destruct within a couple months, is my guess, if he's in where he was. But maybe without the back injury, he doesn't go as hard on the pills and shit, so maybe not. But I'm going to say, like, he comes back and he's, whatever.
Okay, well, I think,
but not Jesus Shawn. He doesn't have time to become Jesus Shawn.
No, he's
still kind of a prick, probably.
Well, he's gonna come back as a face, I think.
Yeah.
Right, because he's gonna be like this heroic story or whatever, right? So I think there's one giant elephant that gets fucked because of Shawn, at least in '98, and that's The Rock.
Yeah.
Because I think what ends up happening, and I could be wrong, but I think what ends up happening is you're probably looking at the same kind of fallout, like Undertaker Kane for the title and all that. But I think you just get the Shawn Michaels turn in the main event at Survivor Series. I think he's going to turn and be the corporate champion. because he was always Vince's guy.
Yeah.
And then it's really interesting where it's going to go because, like, I mean, just with him, I think he's going to win the title. He's
going to lay down to Austin 2 years in a row, though?
To prove, maybe he will. Because, like, especially if he's clean and whatnot, I think he will. I think he'll come in, he'll do the exact same finish with the sharpshooter, which would even probably work better with him, sadly.
Yeah, true.
But then I think that, like, he's basically in that Rock slot. I think he's in that Rock slot till Mania where Austin beats him and he turns face the way the Rock does. I think his path is the same as the Rock's, basically.
Yeah, well, so let's dial it back and say if he hadn't have been injured after Mania, or if he was going to come back quicker, I think the plan was for a face Shawn to feud with a heel DX, right? They were going to kick him out.
Yeah.
So the question is, do they try and keep DX heel till he comes? Because I think there's two worlds, right? Do they know he's coming back, or they're not sure, but then he's ready, right? Because if they know he's coming back and he just needs a few months to rehab, do they try and burn DX's heel so they can have Shawn come back to fight for, what he built, right?
I think, I mean, what they would do and what I think is two different things, obviously. But I think the play really is turning DX heel later with Triple H in '99. Right. Like, I think, and especially the way
he comes back and they're buddies again, though. They're all fine.
He slides into the role because Triple H is hurt, right?
Yeah. So he takes over control.
There is an actual vacuum there, right? And so that when he turns on the fans and joins Vince at Survivor Series 98, he's turning on DX as well.
Yeah, and well, yeah, because then honestly, the whole China thing makes sense in a way, right? Because she joins the corporation in February, and you can say, well, Shawn brought her in, right? So he's just bringing her back.
Shawn was always protecting her, and
But then Hunter turns, and then the double turn works well too, because Hunter again kicks him to the curb, right? Hunter's now the young guy that Vince wants in the corporation, and Shawn's, they kick Shawn out.
Yeah.
And then you do Hunter Shawn like you did Hunter X-Pac.
Yeah.
So Rock really gets fucked in all this because then you're thinking they may do Hunter Shawn in May, June, July, or whatever, 99 instead of Hunter Rock again, right? That's kind of the.
It probably just retards everything. And I realize I use that word, but that's the actual word for it, right? It pushes everything back because I think no matter what, I think Rock just turns face earlier. Rock turns. They don't let the
corporate champion. Yeah.
No, he becomes so like when you're looking at Breakdown where he's the smarter one or he's fighting Mark Henry, he just organically becomes that face, right?
Yeah.
And
so now you have Rock, Austin, Foley.
Yeah.
DX.
Yeah.
And then on the heel side is the corporation and Taker.
Yeah, but then you could eventually move everything around. Like, I mean, you could have Austin lose the belt kind of the way he loses it to Taker in May of '99, but instead have him lose it back to Shawn or turn Shawn or something like, or back to Triple H. But Rock.
No, I think Taker. I think you keep Taker, and that goes the same.
Well, I'm trying to think of where Rock gets crowned, right? Because Rock is not getting crowned at WrestleMania 15, right?
Unless I think he takes the Big Show's place.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Or in this world, right? In this world, this is where we've talked about this. This is where, if you wanted, you run Shawn Michaels against The Rock in the main event of WrestleMania 15 and have Austin Vince in the cage on the undercard.
Yeah, so instead of Austin getting his title back, which you don't really need to do, him and Vince is the
feud,
the Holy Grail. Yeah, so Rock beats Shawn, he's crowned there.
Yeah.
Then
you got face Rock. You got Triple H is going to go heel. Michaels is going to go face after Mania.
So now you got Austin, Rock, and Michaels all at the top as faces.
Yeah, but you got an Undertaker in that mix too, right?
Yeah.
So he could be used in there too. I think there's wiggle room there.
Yeah, I mean they didn't have another heel anyway, It's not like anyone returning was not there, because who are the top heels during that stretch is Taker when he fights, and then Vince. I mean,
What
Austin's
you do,
feuding with Vince anyway.
you also lose the Foley runs in there.
Yeah.
And Foley probably doesn't win the title anywhere else. Because I doubt they give him that one night reign at SummerSlam.
If he hadn't won yet.
Yeah, like it was just an addendum, right? But
if Rock is your face champion coming out of SummerSlam, do you do Rock Austin? Because you wouldn't have done it now. So do you do Rock Austin at SummerSlam with Jesse as the ref?
Maybe.
And then set up something like Austin Rock Triple H anyway at Survivor Series.
Yeah. Or you keep Foley, or you turn Foley heel and you do Rock Foley. Because we don't get any of those matches, right?
No. It's hard for me to take a world where there's no January 4th.
Yeah. Because I don't see Shawn, if he's the champion at that point, I don't see him bouncing the belt back and forth with Foley.
No, he's keeping it till Mania.
Yeah. It also doesn't fit his character, like way it did kind of The Rock, you know?
And it tracks because, I mean, they have him join the corporation as commissioner, right? And then he turns back quick, I think. I don't know if that was always the plan or if they realized maybe it wasn't quite working, but I think he's only in the corporation for like 3 weeks or whatever, as commissioner. But
they smash his face through the car or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Foley and Rock are definitely the ones, unless they do the route we just talked about, where they do Austin Vince at Mania with Rock Michaels instead of Austin and Rock.
That might be the better play. I mean, you lose that pay-per-view, but who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I think WrestleMania 15 is probably a better show with Rock, HBK on top with Vince in the cage underneath.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really move anybody else around.
So you still do Triple H turning. You still do all that.
Still the bullshit with the hardcore and the Intercontinental.
Yeah, no, nothing else. You can change it, but nothing else has to change.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, how long? I mean, does he just go right through? I guess, like.
What do you mean?
2010, Shawn? Because I mean, it's an interesting choice because we don't have to fantasy book out. We only have to fantasy book 4 years in theory, right? So like, we're already to the end of 2000. We kind of have him. Maybe he fused with DX then because he wouldn't have really done it yet. So
here's something. Yeah, to finish your thought, then I'm going to give mine.
No, so say Hunter. So if you do Rock, I kind of like Rock Austin at SummerSlam. It's a huge main event with Jesse as the ref.
Yeah. Rock's the champion.
Rock's the champion. Austin wins the belt, and Hunter is on his come up. So maybe you do Hunter Shawn, and DX turns on Shawn, and now you have heel DX with the corporation like they had anyway.
Yeah.
And that sets up your fall run with Hunter and Shawn to get Hunter to the next level.
Yeah.
Set him up. So maybe instead of him winning in September or whatever, October, whenever the hell he wins it, you run Austin to Survivor Series. Hunter wins it there with DX.
Yeah.
Helping him win. And then you get to 2000. So now you got 2 more years of Shawn to book from there. I mean, you start to really get an influx of talent.
Yeah. Then you get Sean Benoit and Sean Guerrero. Like you get DX against the Radicals with Shawn involved. If you want to put DX back together, which you could at some point. I think the interesting point comes the next year when they start doing that invasion. Like Shawn is a big WWF piece.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I wonder if him being there, I wonder if that at all influences Hall and Nash to accept buyouts and come.
It could. I mean, the other big thing is like, do we not get the 2-man power trip? Do we not get Austin and Vince? Right? Because if he's there, like, what's his role and all that? Are they going to do Hunter and Austin still?
Well, the flip side, the other side of it too, is does Hunter ascend the same way? Because Hunter was very much like Shawn light. I don't know if Hunter gets over or is pushed as much if Shawn is there the whole time.
Right.
Right. To me,
he might get pushed more though. You don't think Shawn's backing him even more? I mean, it's hard to get pushed more than he was, but
not over
you don't think
him.
Shawn's pushing him?
I don't think he'll push him over himself.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I don't see that. I think he's
protected.
But I think if Vince was like, look, I really want Hunter to go over, Shawn would acquiesce because it's his friend. Yeah. Right. But I don't think if he was just kind of there and in power, quote unquote, I think he would protect his spot from his friend, not give his spot. You know, he'll always be number 2 to Shawn if Shawn sticks around, I think, which is fine. Maybe Stephanie marries Shawn.
No, No, Whisper. I can't take Whisper out of this.
I don't give a shit about Whisper. I just want Triple H gone.
Well, I mean, Triple H is the guy when Shawn's around for another decade after, but you think he just doesn't get to that point because he does it during the vacuum.
Yeah, I think so. And by then, Triple H is entrenched.
Right. So do you think Triple H wins the Survivor Series or no? He never gets to that level.
I don't know. I mean, that's the question, right? I think maybe he becomes, if he does win the championship at Survivor Series, he's a transitionary champion. He doesn't leave WrestleMania with the title then.
No. So what are you doing there? Him. I mean, let's say Austin still goes out with the neck. I mean, you can do Hunter Shawn again at Mania after doing it at SummerSlam. I guess you could.
Well, you could do the 4-way. Just replace Foley or Big Show.
Right.
Like, because that's Shawn, Hunter, Rock. Even that as a triple threat is really interesting.
Yeah, but see, this is the question now. If you're not rising Hunter, do the McMahons still become a thing? Because Stephanie gets over via the marriage to Hunter. He gets over via her. She gets over via him. So if you don't have that anymore, do you still need the McMahons in every corner? Or is she still a top heel role player? What's Shane doing and all this? Like, you know, I think he probably still does his thing because they were building toward that anyway with him and Vince.
I mean, I think you do. I think you try to make Triple H a legit main eventer. You probably still do all the Foley stuff. I think you still keep those pieces of like him marrying Stephanie. You do the Foley stuff, but I think he probably just gets beat at WrestleMania.
I think they just do Shawn. I think Foley retires. They don't need to put Big Show in that spot. I think they just do Shawn getting his win back from SummerSlam.
What do you?
Because I think Hunter beat Shawn with help from DX at SummerSlam to turn DX heel.
Right.
He rises over the fall, wins the match at Survivor Series. Shawn, I don't know, maybe takes a little time off after SummerSlam, comes back after Survivor Series, we'll say.
Yeah.
Maybe they beat the shit out of him at SummerSlam, so he goes away, comes back. He runs through DX to get to Mania, beats X-Pac in December.
Yeah, wins the Rumble.
He wins the Rumble.
What is
Rock
Rock
doesn't really need that win anymore.
But what is Rock doing at that show then?
So he lost the Survivor Series. You haven't had a heel run with Rock. Do you turn him? Do you leave, or you just keep him and Shawn on top of his face? You could do Rock Big Show at Mania.
I think until you get Austin back, you don't turn the Rock.
Yeah, you could do Rock Big Show, and this could still be a money match if they book Big Show better throughout the year.
Yeah, or again, you could do as a retirement match Rock Foley.
Right.
You know, if you don't do the, I guess you want to do the retirement. Yeah.
So if Shawn's your champ coming out of that, may Rock and Hunter then get into the number one contender thing.
Yeah. Or if you wanted something else to do for Rock, you could, if you keep Foley around a little bit, you can do the Rock and Sock stuff.
Right.
And have.
I think he was gone either way, though. I think Foley was cooked.
No, but he has that last match at Mania, right? So
yeah,
you could have Rock and Foley against Undertaker and Kane at WrestleMania.
Right.
You know, yeah. I know Undertaker's not there, but or is he? No,
he's not. He's hurt.
But or someone, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and then after that, it's like I think you got to get the belt to Rock at some point again.
Yeah.
So does Shawn quickly lose it back?
Well, maybe that's where you turn Rock. Is he does something to fuck Shawn and he takes the belt from him like King of the Ring or something.
Yeah, or Vince is out to screw Shawn. He screws him.
This is the real corporate champion.
Right.
And then when we get to 2001, it all gets blown up because we're doing the invasion.
Yeah. I mean, you still got like Angle in there too. Like, does he still rise up?
Oh, yeah. He probably does.
Yeah.
In fact, he should be the one to take the belt off of Shawn.
Yeah, I mean, so you could do that, and then Rock beats him, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't think Angle's ready before the fall, really, though. Maybe SummerSlam.
But... Oh, yeah, that's 2000. I always get those years mixed up, yeah.
So if Shawn wins at Mania 2000, holds it to SummerSlam, maybe Angle's ready then. I mean, he probably could have won it at SummerSlam. Then,
yeah.
Okay.
And then he holds it until, like he does, and then you still do
Rock Austin
at 17. It's just it's the first one instead of the second.
Yeah. And then Shawn, I don't know, whatever. You could do Shawn Vince or Shawn Vince, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or do Shawn Shane to kick off the WCW stuff. I don't like that you bought WCW. That was a dead brand. I helped kill it.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do something like that.
But then you lose Vince Shane, but
yeah. I mean, you have all the other guys in there too, so you could do Shawn Benoit if Angles or Shawn
That's right.
Angle. I mean, whatever. Right? You got
Sean
guys you
Eddie.
could do. Yeah.
Eddie's fighting Test at that Mania, right? So
Right. So you got guys that he can start fighting.
it's crazy, eh? Because like we talked about all the things that we would give up with Sean there, but we actually gain a lot too.
Yeah.
And a lot of really interesting stuff. So would it be better? Would it be worse? I don't know. But Shawn Michaels is that kind of performer that like he could make everything better just by putting on those great matches.
Yeah. Well, let us know what we missed. If there's some
Yeah.
big feud or something you wouldn't change or would change if Shawn did stick around in a world where his back isn't hurt and he's clean. So what if, Aaron? Maybe we'll do another one of these soon. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Talk to everyone soon. Subscribe, like, comment. Goodbye.